and welcome to another edition of In Session with Thomas and Tara Suber. Join us each week as we discuss topics concerning our faith, our family, and our community. And now, Thomas and Tara are in session.
Welcome to another edition of In Session with Thomas and Tara. It is finally Friday. Tara, you know how we do the happy dance on Friday, right?
I can't do the happy dance. We got a guest in the studio.
Tara, you wild. You are wild.
I'm gonna behave today.
You gonna behave?
Today is Black Friday.
It's Black Friday for a lot of reasons, but yes, it is Black Friday. And some of you, may be listening or I guess as we used to say, just tuning in via Facebook. Continue to be careful. Those sales out there and a lot of people out there doing shopping, so we want you to continue to be careful.
No shoplifting. Behave.
Yes.
Behave.
I like how you put that, no shoplifting.
Right? Some people
just
shopping. Other people got other things in mind.
Yes. But we are excited. We're excited for a few reasons. One, we have a special guest in the studios with us. Our second show with a special guest in the studios with us on this particular Friday evening. There are some people that Tara and I just admire from afar. Mm-hmm. And sometimes, all the time, we'll just sit back and we'll just look and won't say anything and just observe and just observe and just observe. And, I don't mean to get deep or spiritual. I say that all the time. But, you'll know a person by the fruit that they bear.
Yes,
you know a person by their works. And we even talked about that last week. And this young man, we just sat back and we watched and we sat back and we watched. And I am honored to have him in the studios with us. I admire him. I am grateful he's here with us. He's hardworking. He's doing something.
Fan. He's an Eagles
He's
fan.
an Eagles fan. But I was going to save that for last.
Okay, baby. Okay.
I was going to save something like the best for last.
Okay.
I was going to do that. I was going to save that for the end of the show and kind of, joke about that. But it's okay. We still can come back to that.
We can come back.
But we have the owner of Dream Realty, the owner and broker in charge. Did I say that right?
Yes, sir, absolutely.
Mr. Lathaniel Ford. Lathaniel, it's good to have you with us.
Good to be here.
Man, we're excited. It's been, I think, a little shot in 2 months.
That's correct.
A little shot in 2 months. Tara and I went to the grand opening. And make sure you hold the mic up. There you go. There you go. Tara and I was at the grand opening, and we was excited for you.
Yes.
Thank you.
And we just wanted to have you on just to talk to a lot of our listeners and kind of encourage them to get on the good foot. A lot of people, and we're going to talk about that, a lot of myths, a lot of things a lot of questions people have. Some folks are threatened by the chance of even buying a home.
Intimidated by it. Yeah.
That's right.
Yes, because it for some, it could be very intimidating.
Absolutely.
But, a lot of people don't realize actually how painless
That's right.
it is.
That's right.
Especially when you have somebody knowledgeable on
That's
their
the key.
side.
That's the key. That's right.
Yes. And for those that's maybe listening, and a lot of people know who you are. Of course, you're homegrown. You're right here from Charleston, and God has blessed you with this endeavor. Let's just get things started the formal way, and just tell listeners about what it is that you've been doing, and the awesome opportunity that's been afforded to you.
Woo! I've been doing a whole lot. Well, recently, as you stated, just shy of 2 months, I have been blessed to open up Dream Realty, which is a full-service real estate company. Not only do we provide real estate services to individuals looking to purchase a home, we also assist with individuals looking to sell their home.
Okay.
Within the company, we also have a nonprofit. The nonprofit is called the Home Buyers Dream Academy.
Okay.
The Home Buyers Dream Academy works in conjunction with Dream Realty, whereas we educate, inspire, and motivate individuals looking to purchase a home. And we do that a variety of ways. The most important, well, not really the most important, but the most popular way is helping the public address credit issues.
Okay.
Because that is the biggest Achilles heel when it comes to purchasing a home. So the Home Buyers Dream Academy is a program that I created 3 years ago.
Okay.
And the reason why I created the program was kind of funny. I was in the kitchen, I think I was washing dishes or doing something, and just thinking about my business and how I could increase revenue and how I could increase my client base. And I'll be honest with you, it was the Holy Spirit, actually.
Okay.
Because I am a spiritual person.
That's
I'm
right.
a
Right.
pastor. And the Holy Spirit gave me the idea of getting people that need help but have the desire and work with them throughout the process to get them ready to purchase a home. This way, I will never have to look for clients.
Okay.
Because everybody I enroll, they're at different levels in the process.
Okay.
I may have someone that's 3 months out, someone that's 6 months out, someone that's 8 months out, someone maybe even a year. I have people now that started the program last year,
Okay.
January, and now they're getting to the point where they're ready to purchase.
Oh, that's great.
So the circle is always evolving. I have like 50 people in the Home Buyers Dream Academy as of right now.
Okay.
All of them at different points. So it's been wonderful. So like I said, I've had a lot going on, and it's been pretty exciting.
Listen, when my husband said in the beginning that, we kind of quiet and watch you from afar, one thing that appealed to me about you is you seem very honest, and you seem to be a person of your word. And I know in this market, sometimes people aren't exactly always
That's
honest.
right.
I can remember our first experience with buying our home, although it turned out to be a successful deal in the end, the mortgage was trash.
Right.
And if we knew better, we would have done better, but we didn't have somebody like a Lathaniel Ford
Absolutely.
on our side.
Right.
Absolutely.
That was not
That's so
looking
true.
to just get us in the mortgage.
Absolutely.
Yeah, first time homeowners, blah, blah, blah. We took the classes, we did this, but the mortgage was trash.
Wow.
And so how did it end up? It ended up when everything crashed, we crashed.
Mm.
And so we was upside down, so we had to sell that home and move on. We're preparing ourselves again for the process, but it hurt.
Yeah.
So we were burnt by that.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
just to watch you out there doing your thing and being real and honest with people, man,
Yes.
that's a hard thing to find.
Yes,
We
it
appreciate
really is. Thank you. And word of mouth is my best tool when it comes to business. Because when you are honest with people, people will come back or people will refer.
Right.
I was telling one of my agents a couple hours ago that I was talking about one of my mentees that's actually getting in the business. I sold her house. Then she referred me to her mother, and I sold the mother house.
Okay.
And then the mother bought another house.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So that's three, but from being honest,
Right. Right.
that's
right.
3 people, 3 deals within a year, simply from telling people the truth, being honest with them up front,
Right.
giving them the information, and not putting them in a situation that's gonna adversely affect them down the road. Because I'm not in it, don't get it twisted. It is my occupation. I'm in it for it to be profitable, but at the same time, I don't want to sell my soul for $1.
Right.
I want to be able to sleep at night.
Yes.
So by telling people the truth and be honest with them and conducting myself with integrity, that's the most important part of my business. Not only that, the law actually states we're supposed to be honest with the public. Picture that. We're supposed to be honest and upfront and
That's the law.
due diligence and reasonable
We're gonna leave that
care
one alone.
and skill and confidentiality. Yeah, we call it agency. So there's 5 aspects that the law actually requires us to do. So you would think everybody would be honest, but
It's not making the deal.
yeah, exactly, absolutely.
And we were so innocent. We didn't know.
Right.
We were naive.
Right.
Not knowing. We just jumped into it. Oh, first time home. Like, after about 8 years, what?
Yeah, yeah.
I had a quick question.
Go ahead.
Quick fix credit.
Mm-hmm.
Commercials all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
We can fix your credit.
Mm-hmm.
$150. We'll get it fixed for you.
Mm-hmm.
How reliable are things like that?
Well, first, let me say that you have to bring me back to do another show on that alone. I'm gonna try to give you the
All right.
short. I'm gonna try to give you the short answer to this.
All right. All right.
But there is no such thing.
I figured that.
Yeah,
I knew that.
I hate the bus the listeners bubble, but
And that's
there
the truth,
is
though. There's no short.
no
Yeah.
such thing. I tell one of the slogans of what I do, the Home Buyers Dream Academy, Dream Realty. I tell my clients is not a sprint; it's a marathon.
Okay.
And with that being said, when you talk about credit, it took time.
Mm-hmm.
To get that credit messed up, it's going to take time to get that credit back on track. Any company that promises anything else, they're telling the untruth. I teach through the nonprofit we teach the buyers practical skills on how to not only get it fixed for the deal, but long term.
Okay.
Because ultimately, you want to maintain your credit, because when the refrigerator breaks, you can't call the landlord.
Right.
AC breaks, you can call the landlord.
That's right.
You are the
That's
landlord.
Right. That's right. Mm-hmm.
So many times, you don't have that money to come out of pocket to go pay $500, $800 to buy a new stove, a new refrigerator. But if you have good credit, you can go to Lowe's, go to Home Depot, pay $25 a month until it's paid. So you need to maintain the credit. But there's no such thing as a quick credit fix. Companies that promise you anything else, run as fast as you can. I would even go as far to say companies that charge you a monthly fee to fix your credit is a big no-no.
Wow.
Reason being is because when you attempt to do anything with your credit, normally it takes anywhere from 30 to 45 days just to see an effect, or if you're verifying something or
So
disputing something.
Mm-hmm.
So you figure, well, I'm paying $50 a month, and really, I'm just sitting here waiting the process, but it's still coming out your account monthly.
Yeah.
Some people go through the process 5-6 months, and they're like, well, my credit went up, but then it went back down again.
Mm-hmm.
So unless you do it the right way, you really won't see the results that you desire. But there is the quick answer is there's no such thing as a quick fix. It takes time to get it where it needs to be.
I know it does.
I just was trying to prove something.
I
to
figured
one of my cousins.
For the people in the back.
Get that quick fix credit, girl. You can get it done. No, you can spend that $50 and pay on them hospital bills.
Absolutely.
Like, that's a quick fix.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They'll accept that, right?
Absolutely.
And I'm so glad that Tara, brought out one of the myths, and there's two other things that came to mind with me. Real quick, let's talk about the difference in home ownership versus renting, because a lot of people, again, just like we talked off the air, they get threatened when they hear home ownership. They think, oh God, I can't do it, it's too much for me or whatever. But a lot of people don't realize that, and depending on your square footage or where you live, sometimes in a lot of cases you're paying more for rent than you would for as if you were owning a home. So let's talk about that real quick.
The pros to owning a home outweighs the pros of renting any day.
Mm-hmm.
I actually was a guest speaker at a workshop last week, and on the presentation on the pros of renting, I had zero.
Wow.
I had zero.
Wow.
Exactly. So owning your own home is going to benefit you. The biggest benefit, and I'll start with the small ones. When you rent, you have a landlord, so there's certain things that you can and cannot do in the house.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So you want it to paint the wall pink, yellow, whatever the case may be. They may have a rule against that.
Mm-hmm.
If they say we can't have any pets, and you're an animal lover, that's another rule. Can't have any pets in the house. Then when it comes to building equity, which is the most important,
Yes.
and that's when we get into the nuts and bolts of what home ownership is really about, because that creates financial stability for your family, that equity.
It does.
Because unlike a car, when you pull it off the lot, it depreciates in value, which means the value goes down.
Right.
When you buy a house, it appreciates in value, means the value goes up.
Right.
So, personally, I bought my home, and within 2 years, it's worth $30,000 more than what I bought it for.
Wow.
Guess what? 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
I can sell my house today. And because I'm a real estate agent, I don't have to hire one. I can do everything. We would make $30,000 simply from owning a home.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
There's no bank account you can get that type of return in. Roth IRA, I don't care what it is. There's no type of return you're going to get other than owning your own home. So the biggest one, the pros of owning your own home is you build equity. When you rent, you build no equity.
No.
You pay the rent, which the landlords pays the rent, and if the landlords is smart, they want to get a little more. That way they can make some type of profit.
Right.
So that's the biggest pros. Not only that, you can leave it to your kids.
Right.
Again,
Right.
talking about leaving it. There you go.
Mm-hmm.
Leaving an inheritance. You can't leave the landlord's house if it doesn't belong to you.
Yes.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
And not only that, and let me say this, and this is a big one as well. When you think about renting, the rent is due first of the month. They give you to the 5th. Normally when you rent, if it isn't paid by the 5th, they get into that eviction proceeding quick.
They sure do.
You can lose your job and that quick.
Mm-hmm.
When you own your own home, it isn't that easy for you to lose your home.
Right. Right. Mm-hmm.
It is a process. There's no you go to court in 2 weeks. No, you talking about months, sometimes years,
Right.
because you have to go in front of a judge.
Mm-hmm.
It is a legal proceeding for you to lose your home. And then when you go in front of the judge can say, well, we're going to give them more time. We're going to give them, have you tried a loan modification?
Right. Mm-hmm.
Because the banks, they're not in the business of wanting the house back. They make no money
they don't want
by getting the house back. They want you to keep it.
Mm-hmm.
So the biggest thing is it gives you some type of peace of mind, especially with the economy. South Carolina being a right to work state, they can let you go with or without notice.
That's true.
You could go to work tomorrow, and they can say, listen, unfortunately, we phase your position out. We're going to have to let you go. Hey, but you still have to pay rent first of the month. You still have to pay mortgage as well. So, that renting, again, that time is going to be real short. If you can't pay that rent, they want you gone. They need to find someone else. If you own your own home, there's a little cushion there. You can couple months. You're not going to lose your house in 2 months.
No.
You're not going to lose your house in 3 months. You got time
Right.
to kind of get yourself back on your seat. So it gives you and your family some type of stability as well.
And also, and I'm gonna get Tara to chime in on this, because when we bought our first home, we were young when we bought our first home, and you would be surprised of a lot of, and I'm just gonna be honest with you, a lot of black people who are threatened.
Yes.
But they feel as though I can't own my own home. I can't do it. They just and I'm like, why? And one time Tara and I had an experience. I'll let Tara tell the story.
Okay.
There was a young lady that was coming to pick our son up from the house, and I'm gonna let Tara expound on the story.
Okay.
You know what story I'm talking about, Tara?
I can't even help you.
Young lady came in the house to pick Christopher up, and she saw the house that we were selling versus where we was getting ready to move, and she said to you, "Oh, does he have any more?" Remember that? And you was like, "No, honey, I own that house."
Okay. But then I had to pull myself out that hole. I didn't know where he was taking me.
No, come on, babe, go there with me. Go there with me.
We were selling the house that we were in.
Yeah,
and
but
she thought we were renting and moving into another rental, and she asked, "Does the people who own this house have any more?
More. Does he have any more?"
House?
And Tara was like, "Does he have any more?" She's like, "Honey, I own that
I
house."
said it like that, babe. I said like
Yes,
that.
you did. You said it like that.
Yeah.
But this was where her mindset
was.
was. She was thinking that whoever gave us the first house was going to be giving us the second. It was like, no, this ours. Yeah, like I own that. But this is where the mind and why is that?
Well, and it's funny you said that. I had somebody come in the office the other day. I was sitting in the just the general area, looking at one of the magazines, and a fellow walked in, and he asked to speak with the owner, and did he, I said, "Are you looking to buy, sell?" And he said, "No, I just want to talk, to the owner." He said, "You work here?" And I said, "Yeah." And I said, "Yeah." I said, matter of fact, I said, "I own the company."
Wow.
And he's like, "Yeah." I said, "Yeah, I own the company." A lot of why, especially African Americans, are intimidated is lack of education.
That's it.
That's all it is. Lack of education.
Yes, sir.
My
goodness.
And that's, I tell them all the time, you have to live somewhere. And if you're going to pay rent, why not pay your own mortgage? So what I find a lot, and I've heard I've heard it all, being in the business going on 15 years now, and not by design, but predominantly my clients are African Americans.
Okay.
I'm African American. Normally, people, they tend to gravitate to people that look like them to provide them professional services.
Right.
So when African Americans come to speak with me, I find because mother, father, grandmother didn't own a home,
Okay.
and this is the first time, they don't understand anything about the process.
Okay. Got you.
They don't understand how it works as far as the mortgage payment. They don't understand that the mortgage payment is not rent. Therefore, because the mortgage payment includes escrows, taxes, and insurance, you can't buy a house and pay a $700 mortgage. And, to them, they're astounded because, like, wait a minute. And then when I educate them, and then they start to see the full picture, it becomes more clear.
Okay.
So lack of education is the biggest thing. When you don't know, or what people don't understand, they're fearful. So, and intimidated by it. So to answer your question, I would say lack of education is the biggest reason. And once I kind of knock that barrier down, and pull that wall down, they become more relaxed.
Okay.
And then it's a wonderful thing. I mean, I'm going to closings with parents bringing their kids to the closings.
Okay.
Good
Yeah.
information.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Moment.
All right.
And not only that, not only bringing their own kids, I'm going to closings, and this, again, not by design. I would say 90% of my clients are single mothers.
Wow.
Yes.
See, that's what I'm
Never-
talking about
I
right
would
there.
never thought I'd buy a house
Never.
with a single
Yeah.
mom.
That's what I'm talking about.
Never.
But it could be done. That's what I'm saying. It
Exactly.
could be done.
It most
It
definitely-
can be done.
It
It can.
when you're educated about it, then because again, when they don't know, they just don't know. So once I start educating them, they get excited, and most of my clients, the first time homeowners, again, and their families.
Wow.
Mother didn't own a home.
Wow.
Matter of fact, one of my agents, she was the first one to own a home, and she went back, educated her mother, and then her mother bought a home.
That's good.
So yeah, lack of education, I would say,
Lack
is the
of
reason
education.
why. Yes, sir.
I had a question. This being the holidays,
Mhm.
holidays. Oh, we spending. Oh, we spending our money.
Yes.
What advice would you give to someone who may be considering purchasing a home in the new year? Just about our spending and what we do. What advice would you give them? What's the first steps that they should take to prepare themselves for home ownership?
The first step, to answer the first part of the question, I understand it is the holidays, and people, they're going to buy gifts. You just don't overdo it, because an important part of home ownership is what we call your DTI, which is an acronym for your debt to income ratio.
Yes.
And a lot of times during the holidays, people, they put a lot of money on those credit cards. And when, you're going through the process, and when you want to own a home, that plays into how much you're approved for, because you're accumulating debt. So, I'm not telling, anyone you can't buy presents or gifts, but you have to really watch it. You can't overdo it. Understand that, every day is, to us, is Christmas.
Yes.
It gives that keeps
Yes.
on giving. So don't get yourself in debt that is going to hinder you from accomplishing your long-term goal. The second part, if you would like to purchase a home, the door to get into that room is your credit. Everything starts with credit. You can have $30,000-$40,000 in the bank. It still starts with your credit.
Yes.
Your credit is what we call your financial resume. When you go apply for a job, you give them a resume. They want to see who have you worked for. Then they call and see what type of employee you were.
In some places you go, they check your credit these days.
Wow, yeah, right.
You looking at me across the table.
Something.
I'm trying to tell you.
Yes,
they ain't playing a lot of places.
They
What
do.
kind of person
check-
you are.
Exactly.
They check your
Wow.
credit.
Why?
Right.
Why?
Right.
Because that financial resume tells us if you paying your bills on time.
Mm-hmm.
In order for me to give you money, I need to see how you paying somebody else.
Right.
And purchase of a home is the single biggest purchase that you would ever make in your lifetime. So the person that's lending the money, they want to see how you paid everybody else before they give you that lump sum of money. So the first step now, and I'm glad you asked that question because now is the time. You know why?
Now's the time.
Because next year tax season will come,
Here you
Mm-hmm.
and people getting a big chunk of money,
Mm-hmm.
and they're just splurge and waste the
go.
money. And
They've
not,
done that.
exactly. So if you start getting the ball rolling now and getting yourself prepared for next year,
Mm-hmm.
some of your listeners now can have a home this time next year
This time next year.
if they start the ball rolling. So looking at that credit score is the very first step.
Okay. So tell us, everybody's listening, where you are,
Okay.
how they can get in touch with you,
Okay.
and how they can get involved with the Home Buyers Academy.
Okay. We are located off of Latson Road. It's probably less than a quarter of a mile down from the Coastal Carolina Fairgrounds.
Mhm.
And everybody should know because the fair just left a couple weeks ago. You pass the fairground, you go down about a quarter of a mile to the left, you see Dream Realty.
Mm-hmm.
The physical address is 3204 Heaton. That's Heaton. Heaton Drive. And we're in Unit B. And that's Latson, South Carolina, 29456. So that's where we are located. And we're there Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. And we have a website, which is dreamrealtysc.com, www.dreamrealtysc.com. And then you can also give us a call there at the office at 843-594-3152. And then you can always email us as well at dreamrealtysc@gmail.com. So we have all different types of ways
I see
you
that.
can get in contact with us.
Absolutely. We're going to post this information
Yes, ma'am.
on the site as well, so you guys can be able to get in touch with Lathaniel Ford. Man, I'm so glad we was able to get
Yeah,
you.
the time is
So
up
am I.
already.
I know it was so fast,
There's
right?
no way we was talking.
Man,
Wow, I tell you what.
we got a little snacks. We can go on a little
Yeah,
We
further.
sure could. We sure
Time
could.
well spent, though.
Yes.
Time well spent.
But you know what? This is not going to be the last time.
Thank you. Yes.
This is a growing and a budding relationship,
Mhm.
you know? And one thing you said is that we just are not educated and we perish for a lack of knowledge.
That's
So,
right.
Get on the good foot. For those of you that's listening, go ahead and get on the good foot. And one thing you said that stuck with me and Tara at your grand opening, you said two things that you know that the Lord has anointed you to do is preach his gospel and help
Sell
his
homes.
people.
That's right.
That's
Sell
what hit
homes.
me so much.
That
That's
hit
what
both of us,
Those,
didn't it?
the only two things I'm good at.
You good at more than that.
No, that's it. That's it.
I know
That's
better
that's
than
it. That's it.
Like my cousin said, don't make me country. Oh, come on now.
That's
I know better
it.
than that. You're
Preach.
a creative mind. You have a creative mind. I'm trying to tell you.
Yes.
But thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for
guys
having
for
me.
being here another day with us.
Yes.
I hope you guys had a wonderful holiday, and we'll see you again on next week on In Session with Thomas and Tara.
Thank you for joining us for this edition of In Session with Thomas and Tara. Don't forget to log on to our page, Supersonic U, and set it up so that you can receive notifications and be in the know. In the meantime, like and share this video and be a blessing to someone else. We'll see you again next week for In Session with Thomas and Tara.